Welcome back, everybody. I hope that you're discovering life with Jesus more and more each week. Today, we just want to briefly emphasize one of the most important pieces along the way, supporting one another. Our support for one another connects us. It makes life and relationships richer and deeper. It carries us further than we could ever go on our own. Support's not a sign of weakness. It's actually an indicator of growth, that we're stretching and reaching and inviting God to bring us to places that we need others to go with us. So good. All of us are better at discovering, at doing, and at sharing when we do this with others who support us. Knowing that others are cheering for us, encouraging us, thinking of us, and especially praying for us is what keeps us going, keeps us growing. In fact, much of the New Testament of the Bible is letters written for this very reason. Paul or Peter and others reaching back to people they know, cheering them on, supporting them because it's such a big deal. We've been discovering things together that we may never have seen without those around us showing up over and over. So I just want to encourage you, keep going, keep showing up with one another. We've also been exploring how God is working in us as we obey in costly ways and we share with others in ways that are risky, makes us just a little nervous. How could we ever do this without the support of others? We can't. The need for others to support us is actually one of the ways that we know our I will statements are getting good, that they're actually starting to get costly and that our sharing is starting to get risky when we're just nervous enough, when we're just challenged enough to invite others in. Their support matters so much. I bet you've been experiencing and even telling stories about this already. I hope so. Celebrate those. I also know from experience that it's one thing to share an I will statement in our time together or commit to sharing with others. It's another thing to see it actually happen. And here's what I know in my experience, that the more support I have, the more likely I keep going. To stretch further in doing and in sharing, let's deepen the support we offer one another. Often when Jesus challenged his followers to obey, or he challenged them to do that together, especially when he sent them out to share with others. When he sends his first followers out, he sends them out in pairs. He said, go together. Whether or not we're literally together, we can still support one another. We can set reminders to check in on one another periodically. We can let each other know what day we'll see people to share with, whether at our workplace or places that we go along the course of our life, so that they can set an alarm and pray for us as we go. Or we can send a group text so that people can pause right then and pray right away. Each week when we get together, we can celebrate steps and successes. We can empathize and encourage each other even when things don't go as planned. We all get better when we support one another. So show up, send the text, follow up with each other, and most of all, pray. Someone once said, you pray about what you care about, and you care about what you pray about. It works both ways. So let's ask, who was praying for you this week? Think, maybe as you head into the next week, think about inviting people to pray more often, or inviting new people to pray and join in what God is doing in your life. You can even build a group of people who are willing to pray when you ask. I can't tell you how important the group of people praying for me has been these recent months, and how meaningful it has been for them to pray for me and to hear how God responds. We're really in it together. It's so good. And while we're at it, let's just ask of ourselves, how many people were we praying for this week? Consider setting aside a little extra time to spend time praying for your people. Invite them to send you requests. Send them a note or a text when you're praying for them. How cool for them to know you're standing with them even when you're not together. Supporting one another is so important as we learn to follow Jesus. So keep surrounding one another and cheering one another on. We're also finding our way in support of one another as a church. Each week we continue to gather in these coaching sessions to connect with others on this journey of discovery, to get better and better at finding our next step toward Jesus and help our friends find their next step. Join in anytime. You can find out more at canyonridge.org/groups. But right now, let's jump into the study. Let's see what God has to say, but most importantly, let's watch along the way for the ways we can support one another. Have a great time.